Hi, chat. What's up, brother? All right, let's get to chat. If I need to use 0.25 milligrams of Arimidex per week on every other day injections, is it best to take that 0.25 dosage split up into 0.125 twice a week or all at once? If you require that much Arimidex, which for some people is a lot and for others it's a menial dose, then it's safe to say there's really no risk of crashing estradiol. If there's a risk of crashing it with 0.25, you wouldn't want to do that. But my honest assessment is that because Arimidex has a 48-hour half-life, but like an ultimate 7 to 10 day active life, like at day 7, it's still actually going to be inhibiting aromatase enzymes just to a minor extent compared to day 1 and 2. It is better to dose it every 7 days. As also says, why is it you feel that every 30-day injection could be the sweet spot? What are the mechanisms behind this? It's not that I feel like that could be the sweet spot. I've just seen it be the sweet spot for a lot of people. Every other day is good as well. Every day is where people typically have problems, unless it's a lower dose and it's done intramuscularly. First of all, when you peak androgens from a every 3rd day injection, the estrogen, the aromatization lags behind. So in that 3 days, especially in the first day and the second day, you have a great androgen to estrogen ratio. Now, once that estrogen starts catching up, you reach sort of the trough. You then go re-inject again and create that same ratio. And as long as the total weekly dose isn't enough, also considering how much HCG you use, to take you out of your range in serum estrogen, you'll just have great sexual function and feel great the whole time. JL Montaigne was taking 0.125 milligrams of Arimidex once a week, started having painful, less enjoyable climax. Would that be high or low estrogen symptom or just AI side effect in general? The less enjoyable climax would obviously be, is consistent with AI-induced sexual dysfunction. Again, the brain does rely on aromatization for libido, but again, it's just like it allows the DHT and the testosterone to actually give you libido. Estrogen is the regulator of libido insofar as it just can't be crushed and it can't be too high. For some people, when estrogen gets very high, their libido sucks and their erection quality sucks. For some people, when estrogen goes too high, their libido is amazing and their erection quality sucks. But for sure, it's probably that. 18 milligrams, 7 days a week. So you run that every day, puts you around 850, 900. E2's 35. Okay, I really want to bump the dose up, possibly 25 milligrams for the summer. I don't worry about high E2. Where are you in terms of sexual function? If you're great with sexual function, I probably wouldn't increase that dose. If I were you, I would take some Anavar. It's going to mess with your lipids, but you know there are things you can take which you should look into. I'm not a huge expert in that. I thought you were a little off base re E2 and libido until the first time I hit my sweet spot a couple days after a low dose of Aromacin. I understand animal libido. I am a believer now. Yeah, I just got a comment on the channel yesterday, I think it was. It was like, hey, brother, I used to think you were full of shit. I've been pumping out, TRT content for years on YouTube. There was a guy that came on and was like, I used to think you were completely full of shit. And then I followed the gospel and went to daily SubQ because of that, and my libido left my body completely, whereas on once a week, everything was great. Sorry I doubted you. And so it's nice to hear that. What you probably did here is, yeah, you went right in the window. I don't know if you blew out of it. It sounds like you did. But yeah, it's just, you got to find that sweet spot, man. You find the sweet spot, you stay there, your body will respond pretty much the same over time. I'm glad you have figured that out. Anytime you reach the sweet spot, go get bloods so you understand both the numbers you should be at for that dose and the ratios that make sense for you. Total test, 1193 nanograms per deciliter. Free test, 177. Okay. Estradiol below 30, doing SIP 60 milligrams Sunday, Tuesday, and then 80 milligrams on Thursday. Still waiting for that libido. Would cream add-on help? So your estradiol is probably a little bit too low. If it's less than 30, it might just be a little too low. I mean, you're kind of an under aromatizer there, because right around those numbers, I'm at like 35 estradiol, 35, 45. And if you're below 30, you're kind of an under aromatizer. If I were you, I'd add a little bit of HCG, dude, like 90 IU a day, 100 IU a day. And I think at that point, you would have your libido back. If you're frustrated with TRT and need to dial in specifically libido and erections, energy and anabolism, and fix sexual dysfunction, hire me. I am a coach that has been working for 7 years to fix complex sexual dysfunction on TRT, and you can book me in under a minute at livecortex.com or down in the description of this video. Using testosterone cream is the most advanced thing you can do on TRT, and I created a video course showing you specifically how to dial in libido and erections on test cream, and you can get that also down in the description of this video. Hey there! Recently switched from Cream to test cypionate 2 weeks in. Okay, so you went from cream to cypionate. I'm doing one of your suggested protocols, 70 every 3.5 days with 100 IU. Will 300 IU every 3 days mess that up? It's 600 IU. Well, it would be 100 IU of HCG a week. Probably not, but you're in somewhat of a, what is it? So 140. You're in that like a little bit of a fragile zone with test in that the androgens aren't that high to be able to tolerate estrogen. On the lower doses of testosterone, your estrogen window becomes really, really small and finite. So I wouldn't run the risk of somewhat bolus dosing HCG at once. I would stick with daily injections of HCG, unless you find that your estrogen on this ends up like 25 and libido isn't there. Why are the individuals thinking that PSSD is only neurotransmitter based and not hormones based? Because they're looking at the primary mechanism of action of SSRIs, the inhibition of the serotonin transporter, and thus the accumulation of synaptic serotonin. So they just think it's like postsynaptic 5-HT1A receptor damage, right? Lack of functionality, overexpression. There's all manner of theories on it. So, rather than looking at, okay, what constitutes proper sexual function in males, which is largely sex hormones and neurological cascades, which are driven by sex hormones, they're looking at what the initial drug's mechanism of action first was, and then trying to, from there, create theories on what is happening. Those guys are stuck. They'll be stuck forever if they think it's purely neurotransmitter based, because it isn't. Can you have testosterone in the blood but low AR binding? I suppose, but it's the mechanisms by which you would have reduced binding at the androgen receptor are unclear, with the exception of long-term DHT starvation. Look, if you need to dial in permanently on TRT, get Mastering Libido and Erections on TRT, the sexual function playbook, which covers every ester with strategic protocols to show you how to dial in libido, erections, sensation, and climax of testosterone. It is down in the description of this video. It's an instant download, and it can be yours instantly. Injectable estradiol valerate. What? Ever makes sense for raising estrogen in men that trend low? Yeah, sure. Yeah, 17E2. Yeah, I mean, if HCG is not working for you, then micro doses of estradiol valerate would. Like, what's the guy's name? Trenemy on YouTube. He's actually a pretty cool guy, but like runs Tren and does all these interesting experiments and shit. Was basically just running, I believe it was trenbolone, and otherwise non-aromatizable androgens, and then using estradiol valerate to get the E2 like in a sweet spot. And he said he had a great sexual function. Probably not a sustainable protocol long term because you're taking trenbolone. Eventually you're going to be angry and fucking into all kind of weird shit sexually and whatever else comes with that. Where would you say the optimal DHT levels need to be? 55 to 90 on TRT is typically sufficient enough, right? Typically sufficient enough. There are people, though, and these are the exceptions. These are the rare few, and I don't want to make people think that I'm saying this is everybody or this is you. There are people that need to be 130, 140, 200. They just need to be loaded with DHT in order to feel their best and to function their best, right? To have like insane erection quality and to feel really, really masculine. Those people are usually starved the DHT for a while, right? So they need more of it to get better. Kind of like a person that, was actually starving for many months in their life, and they, almost starved to death. A big Burger King meal, one big 3,000 calorie meal won't cure them. They're going to need a lot of meals for a long time. When you say 52 hematocrit is messing with me, would I say that? My higher elevations typically have had also hematocrit since starting TRT. The people that live at higher elevations, i.e. Colorado, it is said that they generally have higher levels of hematocrit. And for them, it's not as troublesome as other people that aren't used to that. Their bodies are not used to that. What I think is that there is a range on hematocrit above which your blood is likely going to be thicker, and you don't really want that. You don't want that. I get symptoms at 51, 52, and it's a little bit of shortness of breath, and not while running. Mostly when doing, like, if I'm walking up steps, or like say I walk on the treadmill and do the incline. For the first 10 minutes of doing that, my cardio does not feel right with elevated hematocrit. Anything below 50 and I'm stellar. I love high DHT. I'm not prone to any side effects, hair loss, acne. Is there any other reasons to control DHT? Not really. No, I wouldn't think so. No. I think we're going to find it's cardioprotective in the future. There's like one piece of literature suggesting that that's the case. So I think that we're going to probably find that at some point. And I don't really think there's anything significantly deleterious. Again, the prostate controls its own level of DHT regardless of what the serum says. So this isn't like if you load yourself with loads of serum DHT that you'll have proportionally high prostate concentrations of DHT. It just doesn't work that way. If you are not getting the major problems associated with DHT, like hair loss and acne, then I think you're probably okay. I took a 4-month break off TRT. Quality of life went down markedly. Ugh, just came back on cream, immediately feel great again. Make America high TRT. Yeah, there's really nothing like it, dude. I mean, truly, there is nothing like, especially supraphysiologic levels of androgens when you've never had them. And giving your body, the male body, a large amount of the thing that makes us men. Both testosterone and, of course, DHT. DHT largely makes us men, right? But testosterone converts to it, is highly metabolically optimizing, and is pretty anabolic. It's really, really a whole different life. Like when I got on TRT, which was after trying to increase my testosterone after being close to hypogonadal naturally, and it worked. Then it stopped working, and I was like pummeling fast, just dropping, and I felt terrible. Within a month, I was like a different person. My life fucking changed. I felt so good. I felt so goddamn good. And that level of productivity and brain energy, resilience, calmness, even when life might be chaotic, and not good. It's unmatchable, dude. Can't really replicate that with nootropics or anything else. Hey, brother, on 100 milligrams a week of TRT plus 200 of HCG a week, 200 IU a week, everything is great. Training labs, I had 30 milligrams Masteron anything a week ago. Estrogen was slightly high, killed my libido. Okay. Yeah. If everything was great, I wouldn't have touched it. Yeah. Masteron is notorious for killing people's libidos if the dose is too much. And for some people, that dose is not very high. Man, I've seen 30 milligrams of Masteron kill people's libido. I've seen 15 milligrams of Masteron kill a person's libido. But it was a great sexual function within 4 or 5 hours and then crush libido. Often akin to what happens with AIs. You just blow right through the sweet spot. Yeah, I mean, you're blocking estrogen receptors with Masteron, dude. That's why that happened. And I know that sucks because bodybuilders say they're dosing 200, 400, 500, 700 milligrams Masteron a week. Just some people can't tolerate that. Unless you were on grams of test. Just lots of gear. So kill it. I mean, maybe try 5-10 milligrams of Masteron, and you probably have a better response. But if estrogen was slightly high, but you still had great sexual function, I wouldn't have touched it. Just leave it alone. What do I think was the cause of hypogonadal levels before TRT? I have many theories about it. The only thing I could really think of is, one, I went keto for 9 months around the time that this happened, so I think that that's probably a contributor. At the same time, I was exposed to a lot of chemicals, including burn pits, but also, ammunition that has been fired from myself and among other different fucking sources from spending a year and 3 months in Iraq and training in the army. I think that there might have been something in my time in the military that, did that caused some degree of hypopituitarism. I think that's the most reasonable answer. Man, otherwise, I don't know. There's really nothing else in my history that would have caused that to be the case. I mean, I dosed a lot of nootropics, but those really don't have actions on reducing gonadotropin secretion. So I honestly don't know. But I would wager it's related to my time in the military and my time in combat. Needless to say, IM libido and erections are way better. Yeah, usually, yes. You could achieve the same thing with SubQ, but it's just got to be more bolus at once. Right? But bodies are different. I mean, some people, their body's just going to prefer intramuscular. Other people, they get fucking side effects from even low-dose intramuscular injections. Carrier oil, too much test at once, immunogenic response, bunch of unknowns that we haven't even studied. We'd love you to talk to Doc Todd Lee. Absolutely hates prop and anything but daily cypionate. Well, I mean, hates every other, plenty of people dialing on test prop, So I'm sure he's reasonable enough to acknowledge that people use test prop and have a great time. He probably just recognizes where he figured out he could dial in his cohort, his subset of people in, and he's just sticking to that, man. To each their own, though. The one thing I've noticed about coaches is that, like, we all have our own subset of individuals. I tend to get the people with serious sexual dysfunction who've tried fucking everything, and, you know, SubQ daily is not working for them, and, you know, or they need less frequent injections, and some of them need higher doses, some of them need to control estrogen. And, you know, I guess other people may get potentially easier clients or something. I don't know. I've gotten the most challenging ones, which has made me have to look down all these routes and discuss all this stuff and come up with all this, all these distinctions that have taken years for me to make. So if you guys need to book on coaching at a discounted rate, do it now. Coaching will go away, and you won't be able to book coaching for at least a month, probably 2 or 3 months after that. Single session consults will be available, though. All right. All right. Otherwise, kick ass, rock on. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for the questions, brothers. Peace.